Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are still watching Nile Cruise. Well, our winter is really nice. The sun is really wonderful. And when it comes to our high season of tourism, it's our winter. But we should speak more about how to boost this sector in winter, because you can enjoy the sandy beaches, the cultural sites, ecotourism. We do have a lot of potentials, but still we deserve more. Well, we are very much delighted and honored to have with us Dr. Amr Atef, a tourism expert, and his PhD is in sustainable heritage tourism. The word sustainability is very important, and we are going to start with that with him. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you
As
very
I said
much.
in my intro, the word sustainability is very important, and sustainability it can be implemented in all fields of life, economy, environment, tourism, you name it. And I should see the opportunity to speak about this word when it comes to tourism, since I do have an expert. Would you please
Thank you.
elaborate?
Thank you very much. And sustainability is the trend now worldwide, and it's in all aspects of life. Sustainability mainly is to protect the sites, if we're talking about sustainable tourism. So it's to protect the sites and preserve it, and for the generations to come. And at the same time is to try to get the most beneficial out of it. We're talking about economical, environmental, and socio-economical. So how to protect the sites and how to make sure to sustain the sites and make sure that it stays again for the generations to come. The government is doing very good steps with sustainability now in Egypt, especially with the strategy of Egypt 2030. As we're talking about sustainability and protecting the heritage sites in Egypt, environmentally, they are, if we're talking about the pyramids, for instance, they are now moving all the area around, the pyramids, and they will change the whole
Changing
thing.
the image of the Giza Plateau in general.
In all of it.
Yeah.
And they will stop those buses. People will come with trains. They will connect the gem, the Grand Egyptian Museum, to the pyramids, because they found out that the vibration of the buses and the exhaust of also the transportation methods that comes to the pyramids negatively affects the artifacts. So they are trying to protect it, and that's a very good step. That's a good move. Not only the Giza Plateau, but you find the same thing when you go to Luxor, when you go to Aswan, when you go to all the sites. They are protecting it and trying to preserve it as much as they can for the generations to come. Also, they are engaging the local community, which is also a very good move. Because one of the most important things of sustainability is the socio-economical aspect. So engaging the local community in the, I would say, the equation of tourism is very important, by trying to give them jobs, by trying to train them, by trying to maintain the sites and trying to get them more involved in the tourism industry.
Spreading the culture of this is mine. When the layman in the street feels that everything related to this country, the public property is his own. So to preserve it, to protect it, and to introduce the service even to our guests in the best way ever, I think that this is also another part of sustainability, because our smile is a source of attraction. Our hospitality is a source of attraction.
We should deal with the travelers who come to Egypt not as they are one-time visitors. We should deal with them as they will come back. They came once and they will come back and they will be repeaters. And if we reach this point, that will be a great success. It's not like they just came and they left and we'll never see them again. We should work on the repeaters and work on making them visit Egypt again. There are some travel agencies that would care about the repeater travelers among their own travel agency worldwide, and they call them inner circles, and they actually have a club for the repeater travelers that they have. So we should follow those steps, and that will be a win-win situation.
Amen to that. Sir, sustainable heritage tourism. Of course, I can take out the word heritage and to put other things. I mean, I can put ecotourism. I can
Culture, tourism.
cultural, health, sports, conference, business, anything. True?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say sustainable culture tourism, and if you're talking about sustainable culture tourism, we'll be talking about Luxor, for instance, as one of the main destinations for sustainable culture tourism. Luxor and Aswan, and the cruise from Luxor and Aswan is considered to be one of the big attractions for culture tourism in Egypt. Travelers today want to come and see new Egypt. We always say that this is not the traveler's mother's Egypt or grandmother's Egypt that they have seen before. It's different. It's new Egypt now that they come and see.
Yeah.
And people like to come and see different things. And the Ministry of Antiquities and Tourism, or Tourism and Antiquities, actually is playing a good role with that. They open the sites privately for the travelers. That's a big attraction, you know. And they go in the shafts, and they go down in the tombs, and they take those pictures, and they go to places for the first time. They have
They
been
go
doing,
through many experiences which they will never forget.
they will never
Yeah.
forget, and which I would call the Instagrammic tours. And this is what people are after. They want to come and take a picture and put it on Instagram and say, we have been inside this tomb, we've been privately to
And
the
it goes
valley.
viral, of course.
Viral, and you're talking about thousands and thousands, if not millions, of people who would follow. This
But sir,
Instagrammic
let's
tour.
be that frank. Do you think that till the moment we achieved the position which Egypt really deserves? Or still we are just in the beginning of a long journey and we stepped only few steps?
I think we are on the right track.
Great.
To a big extent, and the tourism sector in Egypt has always been successful. We always say that tourism in Egypt maybe gets sick, but will never die.
Sure.
So I think we are on the right track, and we are taking very good steps with promoting tourism internationally. And the government actually is trying wide and straight, and they don't exert an effort to
Amen to that. But let me put my question in other words, if you permit me. With the diversity of tourism forms, the ceiling is getting higher. We are always raising the bar. We are always ambitious to achieve more on the ground. What there should be steps to achieve this more? I mean, to be all the time taking into consideration that Egypt deserves more. Egypt should be receiving much more, millions of guests and tourists all over the year.
To reach this point, we should work more on raising awareness of the local community. And we should start from the schools. I'm very happy when they talk about the children and the students visiting, school students and university students going on field trips and visiting the museums and the pyramids, and you see them on Fridays,
Yeah.
and in different sites and on the holidays. Yet, I would think that before this step, we need one more step, which is raising awareness of the school children, of the students in the universities, of the local communities. We should do visits to the local communities. The guides can play a big role.
Sure.
Going to schools, and before they go on the trips, they can tell them how to deal with the antiquities, and how to protect the sites, and how to take pictures and this and that. I think that raising awareness of the local community is one of the big things that we should work on. If we reach that, and then at the same time, when the travelers come here, they should be able to get and use the local transportation, for instance. And this is cooperating with raising awareness of the local community. If we reach that, when we travel to different countries, I'm talking about European countries, for instance, or the US, we get on the underground, we take the local buses, and we take the local transportation. If we manage to reach this point here in Egypt, that the travelers can use the local transportation, at that point we can say that we reached the max of raising awareness of the local community. And we do not need to promote as much as we are doing, because Egypt is on the news all the time. The government was very smart with all the discoveries and the excavations that has been going. Believe it or not, travelers come here and they know more than what we know. I mean,
Yeah.
they know that they discovered this tomb in Saqqara. They know that they discovered the Bobastian tomb. We were talking about the Golden City that Dr. Zahi Hawass had discovered in Luxor. Recently. So that will be booming, and that will make a revolution
Inshallah.
in the studies of, because it talks about the daily life. It turned Egypt, or the ancient Egyptian history, from a history of the hereafter, tombs and pyramids and Valley of the Kings and Valley of the Queens, to a daily life.
Daily life.
Daily
Yeah.
life. What was going on in ancient Egypt? How were they eating, drinking? How did they build their homes? How did they make their clothes? People always are interested to know about the daily life, how those people lived the life in 5,000 years ago.
And when all these secrets are revealed, we should feel more proud, because many things which were taking place thousands of years ago, we are still doing the same. They are
Absolutely.
our ancestors, and it seems that our genes are telling us what to do according to them. But sir,
Speaking about the genes quickly,
Yeah.
if you go in the tombs in Saqqara,
yeah,
and you look at the scenes in the tombs in Saqqara, we're talking about Kagimni or Meriruka or what have you, the facial features of the figures in the tombs, for instance, from 5,000 years ago, looks the same like the facial features of the people who live in the area of Saqqara. I don't want to even say that the guards who are standing outside the tombs, they look identical to the facial features of the carvings and the paintings inside the tombs. If you go to Luxor, you'll find the same thing. So that means that this genes has been going on and has been sustained since the ancient times.
sir, how many words of the hieroglyphic we're still using to the moment? How many names of the villages in the countryside are still carrying hieroglyphic names? How many tools our farmers are still using, and you would find their drawings on the temple walls? These are things which are going all the time to prove that an Egyptian is going to remain the Egyptian of thousands of years ago, but amending all the time everything, or having this genes, as you've kindly mentioned, and they're going to continue for our best interest. But I was asking these questions regarding not only to promote Egypt or we deserve more, because the situation nowadays with the global economic crisis, with the recession, with the inflation, with the struggles in Europe. I'm not going to mention more, but yet this can be a golden opportunity for us. I don't know if you are going to agree with me on that or no. We can be such a great, attractive destination for many who can enjoy our sun, enjoy our warm weather, enjoy our affordability, enjoy everything. How do you see this?
Europe today is having issues with energy,
Yes.
especially after the Russia-Ukraine conflict that has been going on, and all what we have been hearing about.
Almost a year.
It's been almost a year now, and they are having big issues. I mean, I have friends who have been in France, and they were talking about, lack of power, lack of electricity. The malls are not operating, and things like that. So it can be a golden opportunity for Egypt to accommodate Europeans and turn Egypt to a big winter resort for the Europeans.
Yes.
We're talking about Siwa. Siwa Resort, for instance. If we're talking about Siwa Resort, and I was in a conference, in a scientific conference in Siwa with Matruh University, almost a month ago, and it's very impressive. I mean, the hotels, and it's all eco-friendly.
Chalet.
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 Yeah, it's one of a kind, really.
It is.
So we can promote this more, and we can allow the charter flights to travel. To come directly to Chalet, for instance, and they can spend, and I'm talking about the travelers from Great Britain, from England, from France, different countries, from Germany. They can come and enjoy the winter resorts in Chalet, in Marsa Alam, in Luxor, I mean in Aswan, they can spend their winter here in Egypt, and it will be a win-win relationship because energy cost is getting very costly
Yeah.
in Europe, so it will be less expensive for them,
Much less.
much less expensive, and also with the exchange rate. I mean, with the pound versus the dollar and any other foreign currency, that will be for the benefit.
Dr. Amr, I'm going to forget all about the questions, and this is going to take me to dreams which can be implemented on the ground. I mean, of course, Hurghada, Sharm el Sheikh, Dahab, they are really such wonderful places, and they are already promoted. Can I dream that Nuweiba, Taba, Edfu, El Minya, I mean, other places can enjoy the same groups or the same huge numbers of tourists to come? I mean, can we change the map of tourism?
We can do promotion with the tour operators in Europe and the US of A, but I'm talking about Europe because it's closer
Sure.
to Egypt. So we'll have people coming from north of the Mediterranean to the south of the Mediterranean,
Yeah.
and not the opposite. So travelers would come from the north of the Mediterranean and come and stay in Egypt. We are blessed with the weather, and people come here for the sun, and this is not something new. So it will be a global opportunity. It will be great opportunity for the economy. People ask, how is this going to affect Egypt positively? People can stay here. We can turn Egypt to a big winter resort for the European countries.
Yes.
And they can stay, as you mentioned kindly, in Taba Heights. I mean, the weather is amazing, and it's kind of warm all year round. We're talking 70 Fahrenheit. I mean, all year round, more or less. So 70 Fahrenheit, that's ideal, 70, 80 Fahrenheit. So we're talking about Taba Heights, we're talking about, as you said, El Minya, we're talking about Marsa Alam, Sharm el Sheikh,
And with the development of our infrastructure,
El Alamein. El Alamein,
this is
of course.
our new cities.
Yes.
And the additions which are found all the time. I mean, the trip of the Holy Family, for example. This is another addition. And every now and then, you would find something new and new additions to our tourism map. How do you see this, sir?
Speaking of the Holy Family, that's an added value.
Amen.
To tourism in Egypt. I mean, you're talking about the Holy Family traveling. Jesus traveled for 1,500 kilometers. It's an escaping trip. I mean, 1,500 kilometers back and forth, and he went through 25 stops, 25 resting points during this trip. The good thing is most of those locations are rural areas. So when we promote more the Holy Family trip, that will encourage the economy, that will boost, if I can say, the economy in those locations, and that will be good for the country, good for local community, good for sustainability. It will be again a win-win relationship. Egypt is the first country that Jesus Christ drank its water, and since we're talking about Christmas and we're talking about New Year, and so it's the first country that he drank its water. It's the first country after his homeland, and it's the first country that he ate its food again after his homeland.
When you feel that as a worshipper that you are just stepping in the very same road Jesus Christ and Virgin Mary and their companions went through, this is something, this is priceless.
People say that all the time before coming here even, and when they come, especially, I mean, church groups, they come and they do the steps of the Holy Family. I mean, from Palestine, and then all the way here, and then to the south. It is an amazing trip, and also the ministry and the government, the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities, has got the blessings of the Vatican, of the Pope of the Vatican,
Sure.
for this trip. So I don't want to call it a Christian trip, but it's a spiritual trip,
Yes.
because people want to come and see those places.
Sure.
People want to come and enjoy the sites. We have lots of potential.
Because
and
of this, sir, I said worshippers. Any worshipper.
That's right.
A Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, I mean, any worshipper would feel
Would
this
feel-
spiritual atmosphere
In Egypt.
In Egypt.
So we have culture tourism, we have this spiritual tourism, if you're talking about, beaches and summer and resorts, we have the summer resorts. Even now, they have a mixture of museums in summer resorts, because in the past, the idea was that if you want to see the temples, you go to Luxor. But today, you can go to Sharm el-Sheikh and you visit the museum of Sharm el-Sheikh.
Yeah.
You can go to Hurghada, and there is a museum in Hurghada. You can go to different resorts, and there are museums there. So people would enjoy.
And
the
most of
Egyptian-
them are renovated already in a way that it's not less at all than any museum in the whole world. And I think it's going to be another source of pride, particularly with the opening of the gym, the Grand Egyptian Museum. This is going to be another story.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody in the world and everybody who's interested in visiting Egypt is asking about the gym and is talking about when the gym will be opened. And actually, the delay of the opening maybe is for the benefit, because people are tuned and are more anxious, and they ask about it more. It's like when they cannot go, but they are really anxious to go. And lots of people say, we should come back. So maybe we'll have lots of repeater travelers to come and visit the Grand Egyptian Museum, which will be like a city. I mean, it will be the largest museum that would accommodate Egyptian artifacts worldwide. So,
And you know what's really amazing about this museum too? That most, if not all, the sections are going to be run by Egyptians.
absolutely.
And particularly the renovation centers and restoration centers.
The
I'm
labs.
sorry, the labs are going to be all run by Egyptian. Of course, there is fruitful cooperation between us and between other countries, our allies all over the world who are that much interested in Egyptology. But still, when I know that those who are going to be responsible for all the sections of gym are Egyptians, it's really great, amazing.
It is, and especially the idea of the lab and the idea of restoration. I've seen restorers in different countries in the world restoring Egyptian artifacts, and they are doing a great job, I mean, and everything. But when you see Egyptians restoring Egyptian artifacts, you feel that they are restoring their belongings. I mean,
This
you
is it.
see the scientists and the archaeologists carrying the artifacts, carrying the pieces, as if they are carrying their babies, their own babies. So, and you can feel the spirit. So that's what makes the difference. And also, it's now trendy. Excavations have been going on with Egyptian archaeologists.
Yes.
The new city that Dr. Zahi Hawass had been, had discovered in Luxor, the golden city, or in the West Bank in Luxor, in El Gorna. That will show us how the ancient Egyptians used to live in the past.
Yes.
And this is totally excavated by Egyptians. The Bobastian site in Saqqara has been all excavated by Egyptian hands and by totally Egyptian hands. So that's trendy, and I'm looking forward for the day that we see Egyptian archaeologists discovering and digging in every place all over the country. The country that's rich with its artifacts and heritage and
It's
history.
a process going on, I think, since the 1950s, since Kamal al-Malakh till the moment. At least this is in our modern history.
Yes.
I mean, it's dating back to hundreds of years.
That's
but
right.
now, we are all living in a very small village. So when all the ambassadors of foreign countries are invited to witness themselves a new discovery, and they are becoming not the ambassadors of their countries, but ambassadors to us, telling their countries what they have witnessed themselves, we are doing miracles on the ground. And that easy.
Every traveler, you know what? And it's not only me. I mean, every traveler who come to Egypt, we tell him you are an ambassador. The word of mouth is very important.
Amen.
So imagine every traveler who goes back and talks about his friends and families, and they bring them here to Egypt, and they come back. We have 18,000 guides in Egypt, and they're doing a great job. Wide and straight. The Egyptian guides are promoting Egypt, and they are doing a great job, and the syndicate in Egypt is doing a great job. And I think they are, they promote Egypt, and they tell every traveler that they are our ambassadors. They are our ambassadors, and they should go back and tell more people to come and visit our great country and a great civilization.
So you are that optimistic about the future, and we are doing great.
What-
This is something which I can end this interview with, or you do have a comment?
No, I don't have no comments, and I'm very optimistic about tourism. And I think that the coming years will be the best, and there are lots of good things to come. and I hope that the future will bring us brighting side, and we'll enjoy New Egypt.
Sir, I really enjoyed our discussions, and we are going to leave you with a promise to see you again in more episodes and on Nile TV International Screen.
Thank you very much.
Well, we were very much delighted and honored to have with us Dr. Amr Atef, a tourism expert, and his PhD in sustainable heritage tourism. This is very important, and this is a very important field, tourism and sustainability. When they are mixed together, they really can achieve miracles on the ground, because as I'm always saying, we deserve more, Egypt deserves more. Well, right after this, we are going to be back with more, so stay tuned.